Welcome to the Blueprint Briefing. I am your host, Marcus Xavier. Today, we are engaging in a deep dive journalistic exploration of a contemporary discourse that is currently vibrating through the digital and social corridors of our nation. We are examining the intersection of legal realism, sociological data, and the lived experience of modern urban life. Our focus today centers on a detailed analysis of a recent dialogue between social commentator Pearl Davis and renowned defense attorney Andrew Branca. They have introduced a controversial and heavy concept into the public square: Black fatigue. In this briefing, we aren't just summarizing, we are analyzing. We are exploring the linguistic roots, the cultural histories, and the historical influences that shape these arguments. This is a factual, professional breakdown of how contemporary events impact our politics and, ultimately, our daily lives. This is the blueprint. Let's get into the facts. To understand the argument, we must first understand the personalities behind it. Andrew Branca is not merely a commentator. He is a veteran of the legal system who built his professional reputation on the law of self-defense. His perspective is forged in the pits of the legal system, where he has observed the mechanical functions of the booking room versus the polished narratives of the political stage. On the other side of this dialogue is Pearl Davis, a commentator known for her reactions to contemporary cultural shifts. Together, they present a thesis that suggests the American public is being propagandized by a specific narrative, the idea that the totality of the world's grievances can be traced back to a single demographic: white people. Branca argues that there's a fundamental disconnect between the reality recorded in police booking rooms and the reality presented in official government statistics. This brings us to our first major point of analysis: the politics of data. A central pillar of the Blueprint Briefing is analyzing how modern politics impacts our daily lives. Branca makes a startling claim regarding the integrity of crime statistics. He suggests that once a police officer reaches the rank of captain, they undergo a metamorphosis from a cop into a politician. Branca asserts that these high-ranking officials are incentivized to manipulate data to ensure their precincts and, by extension, their political superiors appear successful. This involves downgrading charges, for example, reclassifying an attempted murder as an aggravated assault to lower the violent crime index. Furthermore, Branca argues for a cleaning of demographic data. He claims that if suspects were labeled with absolute demographic accuracy, the statistics for white violent crime would see a significant decrease. He provides a specific, albeit controversial, breakdown, claiming that black men commit violent crimes at 20 times the rate of white men, and that black women commit homicide at twice the rate of white men. This leads to a critical analysis. If these statistics are factual, the historical impact on public policy, from policing to real estate, is monumental. To truly explore the story, we must look at the language being used. Pearl Davis utilizes the term crashing out in contemporary urban linguistics. Crashing out refers to a state of reckless, abandoned individuals acting without regard for consequences, often leading to incarceration or death. Davis contrasts this with what she describes as a cultural history of good faith in white communities, a tendency to operate on the benefit of the doubt. Conversely, she argues that some segments of black communities have a cultural focus on disrespect, where perceived slights lead to immediate and often violent conflict. Branca's arguments delve into even deeper, more controversial historical roots. He utilizes terms like per capita and demographics to frame a perspective known as racial realism. This viewpoint is rooted in 20th century sociobiology, which posits that social dysfunctions such as crime rates and academic performance are influenced by IQ, which he claims is largely genetic. This historical argument is used to explain why certain communities continue to struggle despite significant financial investment in social infrastructure. Now, we must define the phenomenon at the heart of this discussion: black fatigue. Contrary to what the name might suggest, the sources indicate that this is not exclusively a white experience. According to Davis and Branca, The individuals most fatigued are often law-abiding black citizens who are doing the right thing, but are forced to reside within the chaos generated by a small percentage of their community. They cite the example of a black landlord exhausted by the behavioral patterns of his tenants to illustrate that this fatigue is centered on behavior, not skin color. They argue that social cohesion relies on the golden rule, treating others as one wishes to be treated. Their argument suggests that when a community's social cohesion or collective IQ falls below a certain threshold, this universal rule of reciprocity collapses, leading to what they term fatigue, to illustrate the human impact of these statistics. We look at several reported cases that have shaped this discourse. The case of Florentino Hurtado in 2023. A 69-year-old man with dementia was brutally assaulted in a parking lot for simply attempting to open the wrong car door. Branca argues that such incidents should be legally viewed with the same weight as murder, as a traumatic brain injury fundamentally alters the victim's identity forever. The Winter Haven tragedy. A mother, Adele Bing, allegedly shot her daughter, Ruby, while the daughter held a 4-month-old infant. While the mother claimed it was a mistake involving an ex-boyfriend, Branca uses his experience as a defense lawyer to express skepticism toward narratives that lack corroborating evidence. The gym defense. Personal trainer Nishali Alma successfully defended herself against an attacker, Xavier Thomas Jones. While this is often viewed as a story of triumph, Branca notes a darker sociological trend, the phenomena of women sending love letters to violent offenders once they are incarcerated, a behavior he finds incomprehensible. As we reach the final analysis of this blueprint briefing, we must look at the why. Why are these arguments being made now? The core argument presented by Branca is that public policy is failing the law-abiding citizen. He makes a bold claim. If the legal system consistently incarcerated repeat offenders after their third violent felony, 90% of violent crime would vanish. The reasoning behind this argument is the belief that a very small, specific percentage of the population is responsible for the vast majority of societal fear. He further notes that the no-snitching culture isn't just about fear of criminals. It represents a total breakdown of trust in the government and the community's ability to provide safety and order. Pearl Davis concludes with a sociological observation on how this impacts our daily lives, specifically real estate and urban planning. She describes the Whole Foods effect, where individuals, specifically white populations in her argument, walk away from areas of chaos, seeking out safer enclaves where they don't have to navigate the breakdown of social cohesion. Today, we have explored the story of Black fatigue, not through the lens of emotion, but through the lens of reported facts and professional legal analysis. We have looked at the linguistic roots of crashing out, the cultural histories of community trust, and the historical roots of sociobiological arguments. The impact of these events on our daily lives is clear. It dictates where we live, how we perceive our neighbors, and how we view the efficacy of our legal system. I am Marcus Xavier, and this has been the Blueprint Briefing. The facts are before you. The analysis is complete. We encourage you to continue this conversation with professionalism and civility.